Alrighty, how's everybody doing today? Happy freaking Sunday. I know, it's Sunday. It's the morning. That means it is the perfect time to get started with a cook stream. How's it going, Bash? What's shaking, everybody? Hope we're all having a fantastic day. We are, in fact, going to be making pizza today. What's up, Doc? How you doing today? Welcome back. Alright. So, yeah. We are going to, like I said, we're going to be making pizza. We're going to be doing this all, like, in a bit of a weird order, just so that way, like, you guys can see the pizza, like, when it comes out of the oven. So that way you can kind of have an idea of, like, you get to know how long it takes. You get to see what it's like when it comes right out of the oven. And so what we're going to be doing is that, like, I have a dough, like, ready to go that I made. I'm going to show you how to make the dough after we make the pizza and get it in the oven. So that way the pizza's cooking while we make the dough, like show you how we made the dough, and then I can, like, and I think I have an onion that I need to prep up too and stuff like that. So what's up, Snake? How you doing today, man? Welcome back. Good to see you. This is such a weird angle to see Billy from, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. Grrr, with 1,000 freaking bits. Pizza. I know, right? Crazy. Grr, thank you so very much for the 1,000 delicious little teal bits or turquoise bits or whatever color they are. Anyway, thanks for helping keep the content alive and supporting the stream. I really appreciate it. Oh, so very much. Oh, so very much. Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of things like out of the ordinary when it comes to a cooking stream, though, Vash. Everything's all like, it's like we're in a whole different world. When we're just in the green screen world or the game world, who knows? Well, we just get used to that anyway, and then we transition over to the kitchen. It's like we're transported to a whole new place. All right, let's get rocking and rolling here. So, like I said, we have this dough. I made this dough last night, and that means it's been sitting for like about 11 hours. It's been sitting here and rising. You don't have to let it sit for that long. You typically, when I do this dough, it sits for about 7-8 hours. You can, I've made it like with as little as like 3 hours. I definitely say, like, don't use it for in less than 3 hours. At least that's the earliest time that I've ever used it. I have tried, like, letting it sit for like a longer period of time, like in the fridge. I haven't had it come out like a way that I'm as happy with. Letting it sit out in a warm or cool room, whatever, kind of lets the yeast do its work a little bit better, and I think you get a better flavor and a better like a better rise out of it, obviously. So you get better, like, consistency or texture with the dough, because it gets all the little bubbles in it, courtesy of the yeast. So, like I said, we have our oven preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll show you the pan that I'm using really quick to make the pizza on. It's a cast iron skillet is what it is. I'm going to put it back in the oven because I want to put the dough on it while it's, like, nice and ripping hot. So this is the cast iron skillet we have. It's a huge skillet. That bad boy back in the oven. So, like I said, oven set to 450 degrees. Cast iron skillet is in there. So that way when we put the dough on the pan, it's just like it's going on the pizza stone at the restaurant. If you have a pizza stone, cool. I don't know, I did some research on pizza stones, and I wasn't really like convinced that it wasn't going to like break over time, and like I know that like cast iron's gonna hold the heat really good, so cast iron seemed like a great long-term thing because you can use it for everything, whatever. So I ended up getting a cast iron skillet. If you have a pizza stone, that's fine. If you just have like a pizza, like a circular pan, put some foil on it, whatever, I'm sure you're gonna be okay. But having something like a pizza stone or a like this, like I'm doing the cast iron skillet, lets you get all that nice heat. So when you put the dough on it, it's gonna get you a crispier crust. So that's what we're going for, right? What's up, Scales? You're here for the free cooking lessons? Well, I mean, we're just making pizza over here, all right? We're just making pizza. You understand? It ain't nothing too fancy. We're not even making our own sauce. We're using store-bought sauce, just normal, just Meyer brand pepperoni and cheese, just low moisture mozzarella cheeses. As long as you get like you want to get low moisture mozzarella when you're making cheese. At least as far as I'm concerned, if you start stacking up too many, especially moist ingredients, you're gonna have a soggy pizza. It's not gonna be super awesome. So anyway, 475, no, 450 degrees Fahrenheit is what we're at, Loki, for that. What's up, Buttmanzer? How you doing today? Is that a Twitch apron? You damn right it's a Twitch apron. Look at this. That's amazing. My God. Oh my God. All right, so we have our dough that's been sitting for 11 hours. Like I said, it doesn't have to be that long. You can see it is all kinds of risen. This is like a little bit more than doubled in size. We have a lot of really nice action going on in that dough. You can see all the bubbles in there. The yeast doing its work. What you wanted? Well, that's too bad. It's too bad. It's my apron. You can't have it. Alright, so it's not a particularly messy process, like rolling out the dough with the flour, which is what we're about to do. I'm going to lay some flour on the counter. But I'm going to put gloves on anyway, so that way I can just move on to the next thing as fast as possible, right? Don't want to be wasting time. Don't want to be wasting any time here. So, I got a little bit of, grab a little bit of flour here. What we'll do is we'll sprinkle a little bit on our countertop, and then we're going to lay the dough out on that. I don't want to like grab it and like just get rid of, like I want to be kind of gentle with the dough. Just gonna kind of like peel it out and like let it flop onto the flour there, just like that, like so. And then we're gonna take a little bit more flour, sprinkle that on top. So I'm in the restaurant that I worked at, we always had the high gluten flour. So I think like a bread flour would be a little bit better, or if you go to like a restaurant supply store, you can get like super high gluten flour, and that might work a little bit better. We're just using all-purpose flour, and it works great. This recipe that I'm going to be showing you, the ingredients are over right there for the actual dough. Super happy with the recipe. It took me a while to like really nail it down so I could get it like super duper consistent. Even had to do the water like by weight to be super accurate. So anyway, so we're just going to kind of start in the middle and kind of press down on the dough a little bit. See, the flour is going to help us not stick. I'm going to flip the thing over, flip the dough over, and just keep doing the same thing. Pushing in the middle, starting in the middle, kind of working my way out. Keep flipping it. The one thing, like we could work it a little bit more like in the air and stuff like that. One thing, like if you're trying to stretch the dough, like do not use your fingertips. You will push your fingers through the dough and break the dough, and that is not good. You had it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno last night. Definitely gonna compare it to this masterpiece you're about to make. I'm definitely super duper happy with this thing, Skills. I'm super happy with the way that it's come out, and I hope you guys try it. I mean, you can do store-bought dough at the very least, and then make it yourself too. But I'm just really happy with the way this dough comes out. So anyway, if you do like work the dough a little bit up in the air, it's kind of like I have my knuckles here. I have my hands like curled like this, and I just kind of like pull and like kind of toss it just a little bit and pull apart. So this way we don't puncture the dough. Puncturing the dough is bad. You don't want to do that. You're going to have a bad, horrible, disgusting time. So this pan that I'm using is quite large. So I mean, obviously not everybody's going to have this tremendous cast iron skillet. So I mean, adjust your dough size accordingly. I mean, you could use this exact same recipe and just like cut it in half, right? Use half one day, the other half the next. Throw it in the fridge, yada yada, and you'll be fine. Just let it sit out before you actually go and use it. So we got a little bit of like a thin spot here, nothing too crazy or anything like that, but that's looking to be about the size of the skillet. Like I said, the skillet in the oven right now. We're going to pull it out right now, and then we're going to get the dough onto that cast iron skillet. One thing you want to make sure that you're doing is not using too crazy much flour when you're working the dough like this. If you do, you're going to end up with like this really thick layer of flour on your pizza. When you eat it, it's not going to be gummy per se, but it's going to not be a very pleasant pizza experience, and ends up being like super way too heavy and not too awesome in my opinion. So let's get this cast iron baby out of there. There we go. So again, making sure not to put our fingers through the dough. Just going to lay it in there, just like that. And just going to kind of move it around a little bit as needed. Get it? Needed. Dough. Alright. Just like that. And I'm not sure how well you can hear it. Let me get it closer. You hear it sizzle? It's sizzling on there. That's good. That's what we want to hear. Alright. Now, for the toppings, I don't want to put it on the counter because it's like way ripping hot. So maybe I could lay this down. Put it on top of that. Yeah? Maybe that's okay. Okay. So I just have a store-bought sauce. Maybe someday I'll show you guys how to make a nice pizza sauce, but I want this to be simple, like just making the dough. It's easy to make. I'll show you how to make it once this is in the oven. So we're just using, everything else is just going to be like ready to go, right? So that way you can just get your pizza in the oven and get enjoying, right? So I'm not going to go too crazy with the sauce. I'm going to get a few nice big scoops and get them in the middle, and then we're going to spread them out, spread it out from there, like so. I mean, and this is kind of like one of the best parts about making your own pizza, right? Is that you like crust? Great, leave more space. It's all dependent on where you end that sauce, right? Where you put the toppings up against. It's all up to you. You get to create your own pizza masterpiece, as it were. Okay, just like that. If you don't like crust, put it all the way to the edge. Alright? You do it however you want. What's up, Rico? What's up, Math? How you doing today? First cook stream I've made it to. Woo, man. You're in for a treat. When do you add the smoke leaf? Goddamn, Rico. Don't be putting none of that smoke leaf on that pizza, alright? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Any reason you didn't dock your dough? I don't know what that means. What does docking your dough mean? All right, so low moisture mozzarella cheese. Like I said, you don't want to have, like, just in general, moisture on pizza kind of ends up, if you get too much of it, it's not going to have a good time. But low moisture mozzarella is what you're going to be looking for here. You can already kind of see the dough is like kind of bubbling up a little bit, which is perfect. So get a healthy layer of cheese there. Poke holes in it. No, 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 no. I don't want to be poking holes in the pizza. I want to make, like, if there is like a huge bubble that forms while you're doing that, I haven't had any issues with this dough where like a bubble rose up and like just became like super burnt or anything like that. And just store-bought pepperoni, just standard stuff. If you want to do like a whole salami and slice that down, that's your business, not mine. We're going to be doing a pepperoni and onion pizza today. So, but yeah, I haven't had any problems with bubbles kind of getting crazy, and I certainly wouldn't want to get super super nuts with poking holes in it, because I'm just going to be busting down the dough more than what I want. I want to let all the nice kind of structural formations remain in the dough, yeah? So that way, you know, we get the nice kind of, the dough remains bubbly, so that way we get a nice, a lot better texture with the dough. Yeah? All right. What's up, Koopa? How you doing today? Welcome back. So we have onions for the pizza, so we have our onion right there. I actually have some chopped up onion. I'll chop up that other half of onion in a bit while we're waiting. Lots of onions. I love onions. Put this back in here for now. We'll chop that up in a little bit. And get a little bit more cheese on top. Have we settled the pineapple debate here yet? Just listen. You put on your pizza whatever you want. It's like, just don't hate on people that like pineapple on your pizza just because everybody else hates on them. All right. Nothing wrong with pineapple on the pizza. Okay, so we have a little bit more cheese on top. That's going to get nice and brown. What we're going to do now is very optional, but I've been enjoying it a good bit, is take a little bit of oil. You could use olive oil. This is just a little bit of peanut oil. It'd be just kind of lightly, like as lightly as I can, drizzle it just on the edge of the crust. Like so. And then I'm going to take a little bit of kosher salt and just kind of, just a little teensy bit, just to add a little bit of, there's salt in the dough, right? It's not like there's no salt in the dough, but I don't know. If you like having a flavored crust, you can add a little bit of garlic salt or garlic powder is fine. But that's what we're going to do there. Let's get this pizza in the oven right away. I kind of like to try and get this part done as quick as possible. I've been already taking a little bit longer than what I personally would prefer, but that's fine. Again, oven's still at 450. This was preheated in that. And I'm going to get it in there. Usually, it's been taking 20 minutes for me in my oven when I set it to 450 degrees. But I'm going to set it for 18. And I wouldn't I would maybe even recommend you setting it for 16. I mean, it kind of depends on how done you want your pizza, right? I definitely want it to be nice golden brown in the crust. Maybe like a little bit of like darker spots coming through. Totally awesome for me. Some people like it a little bit lighter. Some people want it like really roasted. But we're gonna leave it at leave it at 18 minutes right now. It's probably gonna take 20 for mine, but definitely set it earlier, check on it, see how you want yours to come out. That's what I would recommend anyway, because especially depending on your oven, it might be a little bit hotter, a little bit cooler than whatever you're actually having it set to, right? So now we got a while before that pizza comes out of the oven, so I'm going to show you all how to make the dough. That's the next step. Now, aside from the ingredients that we have over here, 9 ounces of yeast, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2/3 cup of water, 147 grams by weight, 283 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Like, I started with a recipe that was calling for like 2 cups of flour, I think, and then and I was really having trouble like getting things to come out consistent. Just generally with baking, like you want to kind of go with weights, not necessarily by like measurements as far as cups go, especially when it comes to flour. Like the salt and the garlic powder, we're just using because like they're not going to be like super compact like flour can be, right, when you're measuring it out. So yeah. So this is what we're going to start with. I am going to be using a stand mixer to mix the dough. You can mix it by hand. This dough is like a bit thick. It's not like a no-knead dough or anything like that. So you're going to have like a good bit of work ahead of you as far as like the actual mixing process. So mix by hand at your own risk, right? At your own risk. You know, one thing that I actually don't have on this ingredient list that I just realized is olive oil. Let me hang on a second. Alright, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I didn't think I had it on there, did I? No. Okay. So 3 tablespoons of olive oil as well. Rip ingredients. So now I'm gonna show you all how to make the dough. Let me get this sauce back in the fridge. We're gonna get the KitchenAid stand mix over here. So the first thing that we want to get set up is going to be the yeast. And oh yeah, forgot to mention, you're going to want a scale. If you don't already have a scale in your kitchen, they're not expensive. You can get a basic digital one, something that tears, right? I don't think I've ever seen a digital scale that doesn't tear. At least not at any recent times, but having something that you can tear so that way you can place a bowl on it and then get your precise measurement, you know, is going to be the way to go, right? Allows for a lot, makes your life a little bit easier, okay? At what point does this become pemmican? Oh my God, you see any potatoes around here again? All right, there's no pemmican going on. All right. Now, I'm gonna get a bowl. And we're gonna measure out 9 ounces of yeast. Something in the bowl there. So I'm gonna turn that on. Oh, it's complaining about there being a low battery. You know what that means? We just have to hit it a couple of times and it'll be fine. Don't Come on. You're killing me. There we go. It works, see? Perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Low battery, my ass. Come on. No battery, rip stream. I know, right? Just gotta hit it a little bit. Kinetic energy charges batteries. Verified and confirmed. How you doing today, Gamp? Welcome back. Good to see you. Alright, so like I said, 9 grams of active dry yeast is what we're using here. The original recipe that I was working with called for 7 grams of yeast, and I wasn't like super happy with like the amount of like structure in the dough. Like I wasn't happy with how much the dough was poofing up, so added a little bit more yeast. 9 grams is what we're gonna have. So we're gonna get that in our mixing bowl. Dump that in there. Good. And we're also going to take 1 tablespoon of sugar. Where did I put my cups or measuring things? All right. 1 tablespoon of sugar. We're going to add that in with the yeast, and we're going to add some warm water on top of that. The sugar is going to help the yeast activate, and it's going to give the yeast something to feed on, which is going to give you like a better dough. How much bread making experience did you get in your previous jobs? Well, we didn't really bake a whole lot of our own bread. We just we didn't like bake our own bread for the restaurant or anything like that for subs or sandwiches or anything like that. So I don't have a whole lot of like specific bread baking experience. Just a lot of dough making for pizza dough, like thousands and thousands of pounds of it. So I have that experience. So next, we're going to need to add warm water to this. Specifically between 90 and 110 degrees. If you go too cold, it will not activate the yeast, or it won't do the yeast activated enough. Like it's active dry yeast, but if you go too hot, you're gonna kill the yeast. So don't go crazy hot. As far as like what kind of temperature 90 to 110 degrees feels like, it's like a nice warm bath, not too hot though. If you have a thermometer, definitely measure it. I've done it so many times that it's not. I don't need to worry about it. I know what it feels like. So, gotta run the water for a little bit to make sure we can get our temperature right. So we're gonna let that go for a bit. Once we get the water added into this, oh yeah, I need to tear out the actual thing because we're going to be weighing the water. You could like do it like 2/3 of a cup exactly ends up being a little bit too much in my experience, and some of this is actually going to depend on how humid it is or isn't. Like that's how precise I feel like it is for me personally. But 147 grams by weight of water is what we're going to be adding into this. It's a little bit less. You made it, Sound. What's up, Sound? Welcome back, bud. So let me check the water, see if it's warm. Almost. Alright, let me check here. Not enough. That's 130 grams. Need 147. I'll dribble in a little bit more. $147 on the nose. Perfect. So we're going to pour that over the sugar and yeast. And I'll go ahead and give it a little bit of a stir. Just grab a fork. Stir that up a little bit. If you've never seen, like, if you've never done, like, made dough or whatever, just, like, seen, like, yeast, like, do its magic, it's pretty awesome, I think, anyway, just to see, like all of the, like, you can see there's a lot of action going on in the bowl, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it takes a little bit of, it doesn't take, like, much time to get going, just like just a few seconds. We're gonna let that go let this sit for at least 5 minutes, so that way it's gonna be all nice and bubbly. You're gonna get this it's almost gonna look like, not solid, but it's like gonna foam up, look like on it, right? So we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. If you wanted more garlicky dough, would adding some raw garlic be better than using garlic powder? I don't think that you would want to add in raw garlic. I mean, raw garlic is, first of all, it's gonna be like so sticky. Like, you're gonna end up, there's no way that I can imagine that you don't end up with having clumps of it, even if you like mince it super duper fine. And it's also gonna be adding more moisture into your dough, which you don't want to, like, you don't want to be like messing with your levels and like that in the dough. So I would definitely recommend using garlic powder. Make sure that you're getting powder, not like garlic salt, so that way you're not like over salting your dough. Gonna get like absolutely fucking crazy salty dough. It's not gonna be too awesome. So yeah. Next, we're gonna get the flour measured out. Tear that out, and we're going to be looking for 283 grams of flour here. It's quite a bit of flour. It's a pretty large amount of dough. Like I said, if you are using like most people, or like most of you guys probably aren't going to have as much cast iron skillet to work with. So just kind of grabbing a little bit with the lid to this thing that has flour in it, so I can get the exact amount, 283 grams. But if you do have like a smaller vessel in which you're going to be cooking your pizza, or if you just want like a thinner crust or whatever, I would probably recommend like doing this size of batch and then cutting it in half, right? That's what I would recommend, so that way I know that you're going to get like the same consistency of dough, is what I would recommend. Yeah, that's true. You could garlic up the sauce. Garlicking up the sauce, if you really want like a nice, good garlic punch, probably going to be a little bit better. So next up, we're going to add. We're not going to be using weights anymore, and somehow this is tangled up here. All right. 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. You could do garlic butter on the crust too, or like straight on the pizza dough afterwards. Yeah, that would be not too bad. So 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. If you don't like garlic, don't put the garlic powder in. That's going to be totally fine. If you want more, I would say probably don't double it. Maybe add like a half of a teaspoon, so that way you're not getting too crazy with it. You might end up making it not too pleasant if you go too crazy on the garlic as far as that's concerned. Alright, so we're going to let this yeast go for a little bit more, but I'm just going to kind of move this off of here so I can show you guys like what's going on. You can kind of see it like nice and foaming up in there. But we're going to let it go for a little bit more. I kind of shouldn't be like disturbing it there. I'm kind of knocking it down a little bit, but we'll let it sit there for a little bit. You can get too crazy with garlic. I have doubts, serious doubts. Well, I mean, this dough, you can taste the garlic in it, right? And it's like, if you end up like putting so much garlic in it, you're gonna kind of, I don't know. Like for me, I really like garlic a lot, and I like this dough. If you add too much garlic, you know, you can kind of get like this, like intense kind of like, I don't know. It's like almost like the garlic is like choking you. Is what it feels like to me. Like when you have something that's like, oh, I really like garlic. Just add way too much garlic, and you're just like, ugh, kind of like having that kind of like, whoa, man, that's like way too much garlic. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you want to have just absolutely an insane amount of garlic. I don't know. Whatever. It's actually, we've been taking a little bit longer with making the dough than I actually thought, because the pizza has only got 2 minutes left on it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a couple of minutes more than that. Replace all the flour with garlic powder? Alright, listen, Snake. Are you trying to kill people? That's what happens. Take the garlic challenge. Yeah. No thanks. No, I'm good. How about I just enjoy garlic the way that it is, instead of making myself hate garlic for some crazy challenge reason, right? That's what I think. That's what I think about them challenges. Never had garlic pizza dough, but I want to try it now. Yeah, I definitely, like most of the recipes that that I saw as far as dough goes don't involve any garlic, but this turns out pretty good for me, so give it a try. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you should probably just do it. Listen, I'm just saying, just do it. Alright. Looks like we got all kinds of Twitter action too, by the way. Thank you so much for the like and the retweet from Yamp. We got a like and a retweet from Kubrak. We got a like from Brian on the Twitterverse. We got a like from Skills and a retweet from Skills. And a like from the Firepod. Thank you so much for the Twitter support, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for helping spread the word of the stream, helping let people know that we do in fact exist on our little corner of the internet. What do you think about adding cheese to the crust? If you're going to be adding cheese to the crust, you could sprinkle it on the top of it. It's probably going to get like more brown earlier than anything else. I would think that if you were going to be adding dough or like cheese into your crust, like you'd probably just want to have it into your crust. So like you like lay out the dough and then you like almost do like a separate like just crust, like crust ring that you like incorporate cheese into after the dough is like all mixed and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've never tried it before or anything like that. So yeah, thanks for the tweet, Koopa. Thanks for the like, Koopa. Thanks for the like and the retweet, Rico. Thanks so much, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so that's time for the pizza. Let me quick take a look at it. Don't think it's going to be done for me. It's getting there, but I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 2 more minutes. And that's going to give us time to get this dough started. And so I still need to add the olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and like the yeast is all rising up like crazy in there. We're going to add in our flour, salt, and garlic. You could mix the dry ingredients up with a whisk, whatever. I don't think it's necessary. I haven't like found any like big clumps or anything like that. So come on, man, get in there. Come on, flour. There you go. Okay, and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. 3 tablespoons is a pretty good bit, so you probably do want to be using like a nice flavorful like extra virgin olive oil for this. If you don't have it, just use regular oil. It's not going to be the end of the world. Might be lacking a little bit in flavor, but it's not going to ruin anything, right? All right, three tablespoons of that. All right, and we're gonna get our dough hook on our mixer. If you don't have a dough hook attachment, I don't know. I've never seen a mixer like this to not come with a dough hook attachment. Like I said, you can do it by hand. You're just going to be in for a good bit of work. A whisk. You can whip it with a whisk, yes. Alright, so we'll get that started. I'm going to kind of move this a little bit over here. And I'm going to wipe down the counter here. Get a little bit of this excess flour on out of here. Get it out of here. Alright, get it out of here. You say waffles and you're getting me hungry again. Well, it's time. Look, Skills, it's about time you just got in there and made a pizza, all right? That's what time it is. There's nothing better than following up waffles than with pizza. I mean, what else? What else could you possibly want? How does it get better? How does it get better? Let me take a look at the pizza again. Alright, that's looking mighty good. Let's pull that baby out. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that, chat. That right there is a mighty fine looking pizza. I'll tell you what. Get that thing to stop beeping at me. You see our dough is still mixing. It's going to take a good bit of time for it to all incorporate. Don't like freak out and be like, there's all this stuff on the sides of that mixing up, right? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't forget to turn off your oven, 450 degrees. You're going to heat up your kitchen like fucking crazy, alright? What's up, Wolina? How you doing today, man? So I just have this like flexible cutting board that I'm going to use to like cut the pizza on really quick. Get this all cut up so I can show you guys a nice cut slice. Where's the pizza cutter? There it is. So this should be, this comes out like pretty nice and like I can just kind of scoop under it with the pizza cutter like this. Obviously you don't want to touch the skillet. You're going to burn the hell out of yourself. But this is like a nice crispy crust dough. So I can like lift it out of there just with the pizza cutter. It's nice and crisp, right? And awesome thing about cast iron skillets, just take a dry sheet of paper towel. Just break up anything that's like stuck on while it's ripping hot, and then just you're good to go for next time, right? There's a little bit of stuff in. I can just, once it's cooled down, I can just scoop that out of there, just dump it into the trash. It's a little too hot to pick up with just one hand with the pads. That's too heavy too. But you can see the dough is starting to come together. Still not done. We want to let that go. Like for the way that this dough is going, the way that I want it to look when it's when I would consider it done is going to be when it looks like the bottom part of the dough while it's mixing is kind of sticking to the bottom of the mixing bowl. I'll kind of show you what I'm looking for as far as that goes. What's up, Flea Bart? How you doing today, man? Hello from Ukraine. How you doing? How you doing today? All right. So again, nice and very nice and crispy. I'll show you guys the bottom of this here once I get it cut up. All right. You get a plate. Yeah, I gotta get one from over here. All right, so let's pick a perfect one. I don't know, they're all perfect. No, they all look great. Let's take this one. All right, so this is what we end up with. Very nice browning on the crust. You can see nice golden brown on the edge, or browning on the cheese. Exactly what we want. Drum roll. Look at that. That is nice and crispy. Very good. Exactly what we're looking for. It's going to give you a nice crunch, like the part that the sauce is on is like nice and kind of like soft. The very bottom is nice and crisp, so you kind of get like layers of texture with this kind of a pizza. And then if you look at the crust, like just on the edge of the crust, like we can see some of the nice texture in the crust, which is exactly what we're looking for. And one of the reasons that I was getting like a crust before that was like a little bit it felt like a little flat, and it wasn't like as crisp as I wanted, and it wasn't as airy as I wanted it to be. So that's why I added a little bit more yeast, and I was happier with how that ended up coming out. So you just had breakfast, but I'm salivating. Well, it sounds like you gotta get in there and make some pizza, all right? Get in there and make some pizza. When can you move in? Get the hell out of here, Rico. All right. You're gonna have to meet me at TwitchCon or something. All right, let me get this pizza moved over so I can go ahead and chop out that other half of onion really quick while we're still waiting for this dough to mix. Let me figure out where do I want this. All right, I think I see a spot. So, just gonna grab my little cutting board here. I have a damp little sheet of paper towel to lay down, so that way when I put my cutting board on it, we're not gonna have that be able to move around as easily when we chop up this half of thing. I already have it peeled. This onion's actually a little on the old side, to be honest. It's got some pizza sauce on it for when I jokingly set it on top of the dough, or on the pizza in the middle of it. Peel off a layer of that onion. For when I'm doing like toppings for pizza, generally speaking, I kind of want the toppings to be very finely chopped. But just as usual, like we always, like I don't know, I just figure like, I have a half of onion, we might as well chop it for the stream, right? Always making sure don't have your fingers forward, have them tucked back, using your knuckles to guide the knife down, like actually having the back of your, like touching your knuckle as it goes down, so that way you're less likely to cut yourself. Cutting about like not the whole way through the onion, like the whole way down, but not the whole way, like about 80% of the way towards the back of the onion. That way it's still nice and held together. We'll do a horizontal cut, making sure to angle the knife downwards so that way we don't cut ourselves. And then go very close together on your chops this way so we can get a nice fine cut. Once we get too close to our fingers on the back end, we're going to lay it flat and then just roll cut it like that. And then anything that looks a little bit too big, like on the end parts especially, go over it again. Wipe off your knife. Good to go. Alright. Nice finely diced onion. Get that in with the rest of the onions. Perfect. Get all this, get the lid back on that. Get this off to the side. That audio desync, is there really a large audio desync going on? That's too bad. I wish there wasn't. I wish there wasn't. It's a full second or two? Really? Wow, that's crazy. That shouldn't be happening. It's all getting captured on the same thing. Weird. It's a second or two. Jeez, Lou, man. Let me get this, all these toppings back into the fridge, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at our dough. It's like the old Kung Fu movie, only with pizza. Well, I guess it's too late now. We're already 58 minutes into the stream, and I didn't know that that was a thing. So here's what I'm talking about with the dough. Try and like angle it so you can see. You see how in the bottom of the pan, like it's like sticking to the bottom a little bit while the rest of it's kind of mixing around on the hook? That's kind of like what I'm looking for here. I don't know how much time has passed since I started mixing the dough. That's just something that I'm kind of looking for. So that way I know it's kind of, it's far enough along, right? Far enough along. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that baby off. Get that up. Move this so I can actually fit it. And we'll take off that hook. And we'll get this pulled off of there. Get it off of there. There we go. All right. Not mixing by hand? Blasphemy. You can mix it by hand if you really feel like you have to be you're that adamant about it. Like I said, nothing wrong with it, but you're going to be, you got a lot of work out of yourself doing that. I got a mixer, so I ain't doing it. Alright, so again, it's kind of sticking to the bottom of the bowl here, so I'm going to kind of scoop it out, get it attached. So this is what we end up with here. I'm going to go ahead and move the mixer out of the way. I'm just going to set it on the countertop. I don't need to, I'm not going to add any flour for, like, I'm going to roll it and then like put it back in this bowl, I think is going to be the plan. Usually I put it in that stainless steel bowl, but I already used it. This is a stainless steel bowl too, so I guess that's what we're going to do. Alright. This down, unplugged, moved out of the way. Alright, so what I want to do with this is, it's not like getting this consistency of the dough is like pretty important. Like if I pull it too much, it's gonna break apart. But I mean, it's nice and stretchy, right? Very handleable. It's not too sticky or too wet. That's why we have like the precise measurements for all that stuff. So what I'm gonna do with this bowl is I'll put a little bit of oil in there, just a little bit. And I'm gonna roll up this dough really quick. So basically, kind of lay it flat. You can press it out a little bit if you need to. You pull and put into the middle. Turn, pull, put in the middle. Turn, pull, put in the middle. That's what you end up with. So now I have this. Like if we were to turn that over, you kind of have a bit of a ball here, and it's all pulled into the center here. On this side, we turn that side that we folded in. We flip it upside down, and we take our hands, kind of cup them like this, put them on either side of the dough, and like work it left and right. And we end up with a nice little dough ball. Very nice. I didn't need to flour the surface. There was a little bit of flour left over on here before, but this is even like a kind of a rough work surface. But it shouldn't be like super crazy sticking. You can use a little bit of flour if you need to, but I didn't have to. Like I've done it without having any flour on it. Just make sure your counter's clean, right? So we're good to go. So what the bottom looks like, a little bit like where we folded it all in, we kind of rolled that up into a tight bunch. End up with this. So I have a little bit of oil. Can't think where to put it. There we go. A little bit of oil. I'm going to put it in there, turn it around a little bit, make sure the oil is covering that dough completely. Have the bottom side where we rolled it into one point facing down. Like, it's... What's up, Thomas, by the way? How you doing today, man? Like, I'm just saying that, like, I've been doing a lot of test cooking for this particular dough, and I'm, like I said before, I'm, like, very particular about how I want it to come out. And these are the precise measurements that I have found that have yielded the most consistent thing. I think I've done about at least 10 pizzas, probably more, maybe like 12, or up to 15. No, probably 10. Anyway, so I've been varying results. This is the most consistent thing that I've managed to come up with. I got some of this. Actually, I have this older stuff. I got some of this. I've never tried before. This press and seal stuff works pretty good. I don't know. I'd never used it before, but I have some Saran wrap still that I need to finish using. So we'll just cover this up. And like I said, I typically let this sit for 8 hours. So make it in the afternoon so that it's ready for dinner. You can make it in the morning. This pizza that that we did at the very beginning of the stream, when we put it in the oven, that had been sitting for 11 hours. Looks like it came out great, very nice and crispy. So, I mean, you can make it the night before and then use it for the dinner, you know, the following day. You can make it in the morning for the evening, whatever. But let it sit out. Don't. I haven't had good results for it to be left in the fridge. So we have that covered. That is going to sit for a while. And then let me bring the pizza back. This is the final result of that pizza, dough. And again, we brought the pizza back. Don't worry. Again, I cooked this on a cast iron skillet, a very large cast iron skillet, I might add. Definitely not necessary to have such an absolutely ridiculously large cast iron skillet, but it's really awesome if you do have one. So this is, I think it's like 15 inches, like in the center, like from center to center, something like that. It's huge. If you, I don't know, I would definitely recommend using a cast iron skillet, preheating it in the 450-degree oven. Get the dough once you have it, like you leave it in there until you have the dough flattened out and ready to go, and then onto the pan. So that way you get the same thing like in a pizza restaurant where you get it, you have the pizza stone like in the oven, whether it's a wood stove or a gas stove or whatever. You get that contact with the really hot surface. Make sure that you get a nice crispy freaking crust, okay? Crispy, delicious crust. That's the way you do it. Can you take a bite? I want to hear the crust crunch. All right. You ready? I don't know if you can hear it. Let me break the crust here for you. That's how crispy it is. Ultra crispy. First time we've ever taken a bite of anything on the cooking stream, actually, I think. But super awesome. Can't recommend this enough. Definitely recommend you give it a try. It's absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. So, all right. I guess that's about it, right? We cooked the pizza. We had the dough ready to go, right? We had the oven preheated to 450 degrees. We, with the cast iron skillet in the oven, preheated at 450 degrees, and got the dough flattened out with a little bit of flour. As soon as it was ready to go, then we take the skillet out, put the dough right onto the skillet, all right, and then topped it accordingly. Like I said, I didn't make any homemade pizza sauce or anything like that. Maybe we could do that for a future stream, but for right now, I just wanted to make a dough that I was really happy with. Because at the restaurant that I used to work at, where I tried translating that directly into a smaller batch of dough. Wasn't happy with that. Tried a lot of different recipes. Didn't like how the no knead doughs came out or anything along those lines. And I tried different things, and I ended up just taking multiples, and then I just ended up modifying it a little bit, making sure that it was really precise. So hopefully, if you follow these instructions to the T, then you're going to end up with what I would consider to be one of the best homemade pizzas. This is the best homemade pizza that I've ever made. So super happy with it, and I hope you give it a try. All right, do you deliver to Montreal? Because that looks like some delicious pizza. I don't think so, Rico. This is pickup only. Pickup only. All right. So yeah. And then we just did pepperoni, onions, and of course cheese. If you end up going for super high amounts of toppings, I think it ends up being a little bit of a not as good of an experience with a pizza. Personally, if you do, just make sure that the toppings that you're using are all dry. Don't having olives and green olives and black olives. And canned mushrooms, you're gonna have a shitload of moisture on there, and I don't think it comes out as crispy and as tasty as I would prefer in a pizza. But onions nice and dry, obviously dried meats or whatever, and a low moisture cheese. Again, don't get too crazy on the sauce there. All right, don't do it. Don't do it. So I hope you all had a great time. I had a fantastic time. And then, of course, after we had the pizza in the oven, I showed you guys how to make, guys and gals, how to make the dough. And, yeah, that's going to be it for me today, boys and girls. It is Sunday, so we don't stream on Sundays anymore, except for the cook streams and sub Sundays that are on the first Sunday of every month. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. 2 p.m. Eastern, we're probably going to be continuing with our RimWorld file. I don't know, I've been having a lot of fun doing RimWorld. I wouldn't mind trying to do some different challenges in RimWorld, maybe trying some different mods, or stuff like that, like the zombie survival, or zombie mod thing, or medieval times mod, things like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Alright? Yeah, we'll catch you later, Kubrak, and Math, and Sound, and Vash, and Gurr, and Rico, and Bubmancer, and Thomas, and Yamp, and Koopa, and Skills, and Doc, I think I said, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. Either way, have a great one, alright? We'll catch y'all later, and I'll see you tomorrow at 2. Maybe a little bit earlier, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. See you later, will ya? Have a good one, alright? Peace.